Everybody, Assalamualaikum and welcome to the inaugural Road to Recovery series on webinar, where we'll have board members or partners of MITI to share their thoughts and ideas on current issues and welcome any feedback or any discussion along that topic. So it's going to be about 1 hour or so, and we divide it basically into two halves. One is the presentation, and the other one is for the question and answers. So today, for our inaugural speaker for the series is Datuk Peng Su Hong, who is the CEO of First Solar Malaysia Sdn Bhd, based in Kulim, Kedah, and also a board member of MITI. So welcome, Datuk. Thank you for agreeing to be the first presenter, speaker to this series. One thing I really appreciate Datuk's contribution to the nation is that he's an FDI that begets other FDIs. So First Solar is not just happy to be in Malaysia, but they make us more happier by bringing other FDIs into Malaysia, and we have to be very thankful for that, and that increase our FDIs in Malaysia. Now, the title of the webinar is post-COVID-19, as the Prime Minister said, the new normal that will actually govern the way we work, govern the way we live, and the way we conduct everything else. The title for this webinar is Navigating Overlapping Shocks from a Manufacturer's Experiences. So that's where Datuk Peng is coming from, and I'm sure we are looking forward to his presentation, his words of wisdom, and the recommendations that he could make to make our nation prepared for the post-COVID scenario. So Datuk Peng, I'm very happy to now invite you to make your presentation and share us your thoughts on this.
Okay, thank you, Datuk Yusof. Good morning to everyone. Okay, I'm waiting for my slide, but before that, I'd like to wish all the Muslim colleagues Selamat Berpuasa and Happy Bulan Ramadan Mubarak. So be safe, stay healthy, and have a good moment. So what I'm going to go through with you is as what described by Datuk Yusof, which is navigating overlapping shocks for the manufacturing experience. However, I'm going to tweak a little bit here because the shocks is not one time. I think the shocks is going to happen many times, especially there's the aftershocks. So I'll try to go through a little bit more short term, but then also into more systemic and more strategic medium to long term proposal, and open for discussion because purely this is what we learn and what we understand from the industry captains and policymakers, but I think there'll be more opportunity for us to collaborate. Okay, thanks. So this is again supposed to say this now, but while waiting for slide, I actually mentioned it earlier, but Selamat Berpuasa. So I'm going to go through the global and Malaysia condition. I will not go through this thoroughly, but because I believe everyone there have known and have seen that. I just want to connect the dots and MCO and the impact, what to do, and elevating the collaboration. The last two will be the items that I will spend a little bit more time. Next. Okay. So I want to show this slide is because as of now, I believe from the beginning of pandemic in the December, I think people are just watching, reading the news. But when it happened at our own homeland, when the lockdown is announced, I believe most of us are really get upset, uncertain, lost, angry, frustrated. All these are normal. The message here I want to bring to people is if you need help, talk to the expert or talk to your family member or friends. Don't stay alone, just ask for help. All right, next. So I want to recap MIDA's slide on the FDI and DGI. because this will connect to my last two topics. We have an increase of 1.7% in this approved investment in 2019 versus 2018, and of which 2.9% is FDI and 1.1% is DDI. But it also says that the DDI assumes a greater role in complementing FDI in driving Malaysian investment agenda. That is very, very true. Just like First Solar, when we come to Malaysia, we look at the whole ecosystem. If the ecosystem is good, and then we don't have to go to other places to look for talent or to look for our supply chain clusters, it actually saves time and saves money. So that will be more effective for us to manage that. Right? So that's the reason why the SME industry is really playing a big role in the FDI. Next. So the expert says we have a worst quarter in 30 years, and the Great Lockdown actually caused worse than the Great Depression in the 1930s. So all those data are there. I'm not going to talk about that, but I believe also people know that the oil price down. People just wanted people to take away the barrel, and some people even willing to give money. So situation is really bad, and it was not impacting the current, but also future. And next slide is talk about the current impact because of the economy and also because of the MCO. Now, MCO, if you look at it, the cumulative losses for the last three phases, MCO 1 to MCO 3. The impact to, by the way, this is only E&E, and for E&E sector, we actually go through the electrical and electronic productivity nexus, MPC, and MITI, teams, MIDA, Matrix. They are all there, and we actually have quite a regular meeting and chaired by level 3 SH1. So the cumulative loss, we look at it, GDP is 7.2 million, and impact to total export is close to about 30 billion ringgit. So that is huge loss. And just imagine this is only the loss for us here, but also what about the customer side? What are the losses that they will suffer? Next. So it's MCO stages. This is the stages 1 until 3.0. These are the stages that really confuse and bring up a lot of frustration among the industry players, because we don't really know what to do, how to react. You allow a certain company to run, but you don't allow the supply chain to continue, or you have to go through the approval process. So it's a little bit uncertain and chaotic during that time. However, I want to take this opportunity to thank MITI and the agencies, the MIDA, Matrix, who really help us to go through that difficult period. Without them, I don't think we can actually survive through until today to continue our production. So big thank you to MITI, MIDA, Matrix, and other agencies that we work with. Okay, next. So when you have so much of uncertainty, you have so much of confusion, what do we do? So this is a work model for MAEI. MAEI stands for Malaysia America Electronic Industry under MCHAM Group. So the company and the MAEI team and authorities all came together, right? So we actually started with the collaborating. And the first thing that we collaborate is to comply to the safety requirement, the EHX protocol as set by MITI and MOH if any company want to work. So we don't, I mean, every company will start their own activity, but to a certain point, companies will come together, and then we actually bring in all the companies' DKM, best known method, and we put it up together, and then we created the checklist, not only for the companies to follow, to benchmark, but also for our suppliers to follow, because we know that for sure, if our suppliers cannot meet up to the standard, they will not be allowed to continue the production or restart the production. So the collaboration here is very, very important. Complying, we have to plan, we have to execute, we have to prioritize, and the third important thing is we have to motivate each other, because well, you have to go through all the exercise, internal, the external, and you have to answer to the corporate. I mean, we need everyone to help everyone, or at least we need someone to help someone. So this slide is critical. I'm not too sure about others, but to the MAI, this is really good. I also want to specially mention MCHAM. Thank you for the MCHAM team's help. Chiffon, Amil, Mira, Elaine, and but also not to forget Dato Sri S.H. Wong, the MAI chair. Here in this, we really act as a MAI chair, like a business continuity plan, and helping us to go through all the business activity, and also he also orchestrates us in getting the EHS protocol set up. So again, big thank you to all those people. Next slide. So besides work as a team, safety first, full compliance. This is just an example of what we do. Because when you want people to come back to work, you have to make sure that they are safe in the workplace, and that is our responsibility. That is our charter and our accountability to make sure that people are safe in the workplace, and they don't have to think twice, but just to come to work. So we have every single thing as what we need to comply to the SOPs and the protocols. Okay, so next. Okay, now safe workplace. These are just examples from the previous slide. Right, we give away face masks to our associates every day. We give them hand sanitizer. Make sure that they can actually have a refill bottle. They can refill and bring home for them and maybe for the family if they need to. We actually sanitize the company vehicle as requested by the sanitizing and disinfecting the premises, social distancing, temperature check, all those things. Whatever you can call out from the MITI's expectation, MOH expectation is on that. So that is the least that we can do to make people feel safe and be safe at work, because we want to make sure that it is a COVID-19 free workplace. Next. So besides working, we also look into some CSR, how we can help the frontliners, especially the hospitals. So we actually sponsoring the Hospital Sultanah Bahia, and this is the hospital that been assigned to screen and treat the COVID-19 patients. We provided the PAPR, we provided the mask, N95, triply, and a lot of other things, just to make sure that they are. And until today, we are still doing that, and we also have companies from Kulim Hatepa and also the Penang industry, Free Banka, the Free Trade Zone, helping to put up donation to the rest of the hospital. So this is a big effort, not just to allow continued production, but we also contribute to the frontliner so that they can be safe to protect our people, so that they can come to work safely as well. Okay, next. So having said all those, shops and more shops and more after shops. No one is doing what they are supposed to do to bring in their money into this country to start the new investment. Construction will halt, and production being reduced to 30%, 50%, it all depends. And global economy is also impacting the global supply chain. So a lot of things are happening. And like I just shared just now, the impact to the GDP and also to the export, right? And not only that, there will be a lot of companies, especially the small medium companies, that going to get into cash flow issue, because if they continue to put in the salary, even though with the government's stimulus package, but how long they can last, right? Because each project carries value to the company and to the people. So there will be more shocks coming up and more shocks to be unfolding. So what do we do? And what do we need to do, right? Next. So current reality is global demand still need to be fulfilled. There are customers that placing the order ahead, and they really want the company to bring in the supply now to get ready for future supply. And also, all these things is because they want a security and they want a guarantee to make sure that if they need something, they can get something. Now, this is the real example from industry in northern region of Malaysia, right? SME are missing the opportunity to meet the demand during the MCO, resulted alternative sources sourcing at other regions to support immediate needs. Long-term, more competitions. Because when we can't support the immediate needs, there will be always opportunity for other companies or other countries to support. So in this case, right, for example, when Malaysia is having the lockdown, which is good because it is effective to stop all the spreading and virus. However, there are also impact to the business. And the key is countries like, for example, Vietnam, when they are still running 100%, there are opportunity, or China already restart their business. So there are business that if you get to that part of the world and start to get the alternative sourcing, or in fact move some of the production volume over to those places to continue supply to the global situation. Working from home is another challenge. Just imagine that you are working from home, entering your ERP system and try to get through the firewall, competing with your family members who are streaming the video, gaming, also consume a lot of bandwidth. That is really frustrating, right? So the other one is the right mindset or behavior to work from home. Are we ready? And how do we judge the people who work from home versus who work in office? Work in office, you can see. Work from home, you can't see. So this will be a new world, new norm. And in this look, there are two parts. One is the behavior. The other one is the investment for the infrastructure. So that right now, corporate understand we can work from home. There's no reason that people can't work from home. But how can we make work from home to be more productive, more effective, efficient? The pre-cutting stimulus package is very encouraging, very good. It helped the people to cushion through the period. However, personally, not only me, but a lot of people also believe that we need to come with a long-term strategy, especially for those to mention a more holistic plan to enable SME to rebuild their business model, competitiveness, and upskilling other people. So the next slide. So this is the slide that I want to go through a little bit more, especially the next 3 slides. Defensive or offensive, what do we do? Of course, there's no right answer for this, but I think it's either you are defensive or offensive, and when to be more defensive and when to be more offensive. And how do you want to ride the weather, and how do you want to break through in today's situation, right? You assess, you design solutions, possible solutions, you need to decide your tactical or strategic moves, and you need to stick to it and continue to assess. This kind of PDCA cycle that everyone needs to do. Now, we need to rethink the business model. We need to look into the new way of doing business. What is the new way of doing business? Today, if you're in the factory, of course, you are touching everything. You have to produce the product, you have to repair machine. But what about those low-touch economy? What about those transactions through the online transaction? Those things that can be done through via the what do we do? Business continuity plan. This is also what I'd like to stress later. Each company, you have the business plan and the risk containment. That's why for sometimes we can react so fast to any situation. What about the mission? The balance, protecting life, livelihood, economy, what do we do, and how do we strategize? This also can be part of the BCP. And then when you look into the supply chain cluster, then how do we reshape and redefine the supply chain cluster? In the past, we talk about the JIT, we talk about minimum inventory. But now, if you enter the MCO, when you put up a minimum inventory, you will be shut down in 3 days or 4 days time. Globalization, we go globalization. We try to do localization, but now localization get restricted because we can't get the parts from the local. Flexible contract, outsource partner, inventories, and suppliers, and all the risk mitigation. Right. So these are the things that we have to consider. Supply chain cluster. Okay. Re-strategize the factory operation. When you are fully automated, you can run with the minimum headcount. But for some company, some industry, when you are still heavily human capital dependence, what do you need to do? You need to have a smart tracking, monitoring, industry 4.0, application of technology. And how do we continue to deploy social distancing of employees in the company or in the factory environment? And also, how can we ensure enterprise survival, right? How do we continue to receive demand and how we can continue to supply, right? How can we really protect the core and the cash cow operation against the risk? So there are so much things that we have to do to enable the company to survive. And we all know for sure, under current situation, like I mentioned just now, we need to work as a team. But just now, we really work with team with the external, which is our association and also the chamber, and certain MITI, MITI and MATRE. But the way I look at it is, we can do all this thing now. The future won't be certain unless we really elevate our collaboration, our partnership with the government. So I would like to talk about the government and industries partnership. Okay, next. Right. So elevating the collaboration, government and industry. There are so much things that we can do, and there are so much things that we want to do. But for the medium term, maybe slightly to the medium to the near term to the medium term, or slightly longer term, I would like to suggest that things that we need to consider. Number one, zoning strategy. Zoning strategy means how do we want to strategically open up or reopen or restart some of the businesses or the factory capacity at the green and the yellow zone. But not to say that bring that back to the normal life. No, it's not going to be normal. Normal shift people still work from home. Factory people will continue to contribute to the output and safely in the factory. So, but we need a strategy. We need to work together with the authorities, together with the policymaker, so that we can really bring this to the table and materialize it. Because if you continue to, even though bring the capacity to the 50%, it won't last long because the order will go definitely. And that will be a value impact, impacting the local SME as well. That also brings to the point that we have a natural disaster committee, but I don't think we have a national BCP. As how can we enable the business to continue under the certain disaster or certain crisis? Here, I really urge the policymakers to start thinking of what do we need to do and how do we want to regulate and how do we want to make the act for, hey, certain industry. We have an act for, hey, essential industry. And here I also say that if possible, maybe consider E&E as essential. And I know everyone wants to be essential, but if you look into the total picture, I think country, the policymaker need to consider that. And together with the national business continuity plan, it can be for the national, can be for the states. We need to restart the supply chain systematically and systemically approach the supply chain ecosystem. This is very important because if you don't do that, I can guarantee you that a lot of small, medium companies will be closed down because of cash flow, because of no business, because maybe so stimulus package incentivize SME as a workplace of choice is also important because if you look at it today, there are already a lot of companies either doing the releasing the people or reduce the salary because of the need. I think this is also the time that you need to incentivize people to participate and to join the SME so that we can bring the next talent to the SME industry. Special project, this is where I talk about the FDI and DDI. Example, for our company, we do have a project that we need to retrofit for our Series 6 technology and a new product that we need to introduce. Understand the restriction and understand the need of lockdown. But if there's and also appreciate the MITI try to help to get the approval, not for us, but also for the rest. But the message here is, if this type of business cannot continue or this type of project continue, it will not only impact the FDI, it will impact the company, the corporate's product introduction and the revenue. If just imagine if you were to push the revenue to the next year, what happened to the company's commitment? What happened to the penalty that the company will pay? And what happened to the local SMEs that already committed to support? It's all lost. And the industry 4.0, that is very important, right? Home office setup is going to be critical, and especially the R&D. We can't do R&D at home because there's no way that we can really run the R&D because of the bandwidth. One person is fine, but when you have more person, you can't, and you don't have the tool set. And also understand my colleague from Motorola, they have to bring the tool set or toolkits back to home to do the R&D, which is troublesome. So you can bring your laptop home and work from home, but when you bring the tool set home, you are actually interrupting the life because here we don't have the garage for us to put the tool set of the kids, right? So we need to refocus on the talent development as well, based on AI automation, and those are already in the plan for the Malaysia, right? And also the a lot of MITI other agencies as well. But how can we accelerate human capital development? That is really good because this pandemic really caused us to realize issues, but also realize and surface up more potentials. There are more potentials here. Having said so, in order for us to achieve all the above and more of all the above, we need to be 100% comply to safety protocols, and there should be zero tolerance to safety. Malaysia has a good policy, and still, I look at it, if we can elevate the enforcement, like what we are doing today, we can achieve target and standard that OSHA established, DOE and DOSH established. Those should not be too difficult. If you look at it today, suddenly everyone just comply because of people want to run business, right? So I go to my last slide. My last slide is actually just to leave you with a quote from Andy Grove. It's only paramount survive. So you have to change, and you have to change fast, and you have to realize, and you have to be aware, and you have to know where is your inflection point, and it's the insanity that we need to continue to embrace, because if not, then we will be always the one behind the game plan. So here I also want to say that for opportunity that rise from today's environment is more than the risk that we are taking. There are already so many new products, new ideas, new interventions that pop up from the local players. I also urge Mike, who is the technology advisor to the PM, Tan Sri Tajudin, and the CEO Yusof. Maybe this is the time that how we can actually leverage Mike to play a more aggressive role and more frontier to enable new business, the new norm in this country. All right, thank you. That's all I'm sharing, and I'll be happy to answer any more questions.
Thank you, Datuk Peng. Excellent presentation and excellent time management. Exactly 20 minutes for the presentation. Caution, evaluation, and recommendation is the key of the presentation. And I like to open up. I'm not going to try to synthesize the presentation. Just like to open to questions from the other participants, please.
Yeah, and I also want to mention that again, there are many of the subject matter expert and prestige leader in this call. So I'll try my best to answer. But if I cannot get you the right answer now, I'll get you the answer later. All right, let's go.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, excellent. So this is Matthew from Green Data Center. Ramadan Mubarak and Salam Sejahtera, everyone. Datuk Peng, excellent presentation. I gleaned some information from that, very useful. Thank you. I believe Malaysia's debate on the impending recession has shifted from if it's going to happen to what shape it will take on. Personally, I think the V-shaped recovery will be unrealistic to bank on. What are your thoughts on what you see our recovery shape as? V, U, W? God forbid, L-shaped recovery. Maybe even another shape altogether, not in the Roman character set.
Yeah, I understand what you your question very well, Matthew. Glad to meet you, Matthew. Well, if I had to look at it, okay. Let me put it this way: from the industry, let's don't talk about the macro, but let's talk about the micro. Right? From the industry perspective, we believe that all will depends on how well we are allowed to come back to fulfill our 100% capacity. That's number one. Number two is, even though if we are fulfilling our 100% capacity, are we going to, do we have a demand from the world for us to fulfill, right? So supply demand. If above two are not going to happen, then I don't think that will be any shape. Maybe it's just a capital letter L, either you turn it left or right, right? So this is something that I'm actually a little bit concerned right now. And this is why I actually look into urging the policymaker to work closely with the industry to allow industry, the business to restart systematically and also with the right process. It's not going to be easy, but we have to do that. How well the economy is going to recover is not going to be just Malaysia, but if you look at the, I think, for example, the oil commodity, it's really bad. Malaysia is not impacted. I won't say yet or won't, but I think we have to look into the future trend as how it will go. But at least we are lucky that we are not in those commodity categories. So I may not have the right answer to you, Matthew, but I think as of now, what I would really urge is the industry and the government need to come up and need to work hand in hand to ensure we have a strategy to restart safely. I think the keyword is here, restart safely. But we are all here to help. We are all here to help.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Any other inputs? I mean, this is a conversation. I mean, we should not only ask Datuk Peng, but we can also, create that conversation among the participants also. All right.
Let's make it a dialogue. Much interesting.
Yes.
Okay, let me come back to something that we discussed before we got on the air earlier. Your comment, because I think it affects many people. This is on your own supply chain, because you would rely on your suppliers and big and small. The big ones may be able to manage, but I'm more concerned about the small ones, or the third tier maybe, to your supply, because they may not be around. And being in your business, just like anybody else, the strength is in of the chain is depends on the weakest link or something to the effect. Is it? So if you're not there, you will not be able to to be up to speed, as it were, because you need to relook at your sources of supply and who can manufacture or make those things that you need that somebody is not able to supply now. Your comments on that, please.
Yes, Tan Sri, thank you for that question. Definitely. Today, if you look into the supply chain cluster, everyone is connecting and connected to everyone. That's the reason why when we actually restart our operation, today we all try to practice JIT. We try to do lean manufacturing. But when we are too lean, when we try to reduce our day on hand inventory, when you have this kind of issues, immediately we will feel the impact because we have to slow down the production or shut down the production line because we are not able to continue the production line with the inventory that we have. Two parts. Number one, for the inventory that coming in from the overseas abroad, we still can receive it. That is okay. But to your point, the local industry, which is our local supply chain cluster that we have been developing, E&E sector have been developing the local supply chain cluster over the last 40 years. And over the last 10, 15 years, we are very aggressive and very successful in developing the supply chain cluster in Malaysia. And also, like for example, for First Solar, we actually have more than, I think, in the past when we first came in, we already have about less than 10%, but now we already have more than 50% of our supply chains are from local. So any impact of the supply chain from local will deeply impact our performance and our supply. So tier 3 supply chain is I wouldn't say it's the weakest, but they are the one that who are really competing with a lot of others. Because items that provide from, even though tier 2 or tier 3 are very common. Right? There are items that can be replaced. There are items that can be sourced from other region, other country, or other part of the world. So that is where we are really looking into how can we strengthen the tie between the MNC and the supply chain cluster, be it tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3, or even tier. Because every single company will have their own tiers as well. So the key question here is then how can we support it? So that is where my urge of the supply chain cluster, the SME, how can we reshape and redefine? Then how can we bring more into the SME to make them stronger? In the past and up to today, people may say that I want to join MNC because I want to be in the mainstream because MNC compensate better, MNC pay better. But I think it's a time to actually kind of shift the paradigm to say that, hey, working in SME is a great deal as well. So how can we do that now, taking the opportunity? How can we make SME to be more profitable, and how can we make SME to be more competent and able to also certain extent, be the partner to MNC. There are a few who are really successful, but majority of it may not dare yet. So, Tan Sri, long story short, yes, we are not there. SME, the tier 2, 3, or even though some of the tier 1 may actually lost the business because of this pandemic, this crisis. But for the company in Malaysia, that we are MNC in Malaysia, we're actually doing what we can do to continue to partner with them to go through the crisis together.
Thank you, Dato'.
Thank you.
Dr. Pang, can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Done here.
Hey,
My question is not so much on just E&E industry, but it's a general question. You see, every crisis will open up a new opportunity for sure.
Yes.
Businesses, as you can see, all started in a small way. The SMIs, you look at Taiwan as an example, they started in the 60s with all the cottage industries that manufacturing from home. And then that's how the SME started, and then they grow into bigger size and become centralized. So it's always going through a centralization and decentralization, back to centralization and decentralization. Now, this current pandemic has opened up again in a way decentralizing the entire operation, whether it's administration, whether it's manufacturing, or whether it's whatever you think about it. So going forward, because when you go to centralization, obviously government legislation are strong to govern it. And a lot of, over the years, a lot of legislation are sort of modified to control a lot of centralization setup. Today, you're going to a lot of decentralization again. I mean, I can work from home. In fact, I was telling my boss, I don't need office space. I only need a very strong Wi-Fi and a laptop. That's it. I can do my job. I don't need a driver. I don't need a secretary. I don't need all these things. It's sort of opened up a new way of doing things. And I believe in many organizations are going to go through these exercises of downsizing centralization, even including the administrative centers. Right? Or going forward, I think all those office space is going to be even far worse. There'll be a lot of people start to work from home. So with that, what is your personal experience in even like in your case, manufacturing businesses? I'm sure you were forced to a certain extent. People start to rethink, hey, why do I need big office space? Why do I need big factory space? There are a lot of things that can be done by the mom and pops at home and consolidate into new things, you know what I mean? And obviously, the impact, government on the government legislation part, you may need to tweak it. For example, like labor law, right? Minimum working hours. If you start to work from home, how would this apply? There will be new way of doing things. So my question to you is that I'm sure you have some of these experiences to share with us for what you have gone through it yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Tan, for the question. Well, yeah, like in one of my slides, working from home is not easy. First week, I don't feel comfortable at all because I don't see people. I don't see my staff. I don't have a chance to talk to people face to face. Second week, feel a little bit better. Third week, I want to go back to office. But then after that, you can find that there's so much of inconveniences to work from home because balance the work and home's need, family's need, chasing and competing the bandwidth with my family members who are doing the video streaming, gaming, and all those. Get into the firewall, and it's going to be difficult for us to do a lot of work because firewall have so much of a restriction, slow, non-productive. That's from the hardware and also from the facility infrastructure standpoint. Work behavior is also another one, right? When you work from home, are you be really productive? Are you really disciplined to just work from home? Or in the meantime, you're also doing something else? How do we make sure that you clock in, you clock out? I think all those questions that the employer may ask. But in short, I think the norm today is, even though, for example, I told my staff and also with the CEO, corporate CEO's direction and appointment as well, which is no one will go back to office for the normal shift. No one will go back to office. In the past, we said that if you want to work from home, you have to put in the application. Then you have to justify why you want to work from home. But now we say that if you want to work, come back to office to work, you have to justify why you can come back to office to work. So it's a reverse. It's a new way of. Will this drive a future change? I think that will drive a future change in some of the administrative stuff. Those who are not really related to the production or the throughput or the output, producing the output. That impact the safety, that may impact the way how we want to design the office, and that may decide for us to make a bigger common area rather than just a typical size for the people. So that will be the, but then that also says that then how can you enable a good social distancing in that so-called common or the public office area? There must be a way to approach it. So discipline, hardware, the infrastructure are all important for us to be effective to work from home. I think those are the few key elements that of course there are more and more, but those were the few keys that I was just said, the infra, hardware, discipline or behavior mindset.
I think on the government legislation part that you think going forward would need to make some changes to support it.
Yes. Yeah, I think so. Right, because today, if you I mean, to be honest, if things can be done online, why do we need to go out, get a traffic jam or get into the crowded places? If things can be done online, I think it can be much better. So the cyber security from the government, the bandwidth for the country, and education to the people, how to use laptop ethically, how to I mean, those network ethically. I think those would be the important.
You talk about net broadband. I'm sure this will change the entire the way broadband's been pumped. In the past, it's pumped heavily into the offices. As for the homes, they are just sufficient for usage. I think this is going to reverse the whole requirement.
Yes, exactly. Especially if I look at it this way. Thanks for bringing up that point, Darotan. Because if you look at it this way, you talk about the e-learning. If you were to compare with let's say other country, immediately after a week or two, flip to the e-learning. You get the school to conduct classes using the e-classroom. But I think for us, there are places that we can do that, but there are places that we can't do that, and most of the places may not be able to fortunate to do that. So if you have to look at it this way, I think the infrastructure for the schools need to be revived and need to be rethink as how do we want to bring in the e-learning into the school, into the education academic work.
Good morning, Datuk Peng.
Halim, yes.
Tan Sri and Datuk Yusof. Okay, just maybe on a different perspective, talking about kicking back the economy. I'm looking at the perspective of the financial institutions. How do you think the financial institutions is going to be accommodative in terms of reviving back the economy? Normally, you hear me well?
Yeah, I can hear you well. Yes, very well.
Financial institutions normally, when certain industry or certain sectors coming down, so after that they become reluctant or they are slow in responding on extending their financial
assistance to some of these industries. Like previously, when the oil and gas coming down, I think the bank was also got reluctant on that area. And now I think many sectors is expected to also crumbling down. How do you see the financial institutions going to be accommodative in this aspect?
Well, Mr. Halim, I think for number one, you have to bear with me because I'm not the expert in this area. But what I can say is, you have to look at the put it in the two perspectives. Number one is the government's incentive or the stimulus package. I think that has been doing quite a lot. Not only giving the so-called subsidy to the people, but also slowing down the 6 months of the no loan payment, at least for now, and then for the future consideration. But this will also hurt the financial world, because when you are not getting the return, or you are not getting the return for the bank, then you will have other issues. So how do they respond, and how do others respond? I think that, to me, is going to be more so-called work together with the government in terms of what do we need to do, because all these things will require certain policy, and policymakers will have to look into the way how we want to enable such a facility or such a process. I mean, at a high level, this is what I can respond. Dr. Yusof and Tan Sri, if you have anything to add, you're most welcome.
Well, my view is the financial sector is, shall I say, quite a highly regulated sector, and the role of Bank Negara is very important. And here is where, as you hinted just now, government, Bank Negara will have to play a major role in moderating in order to ensure the development side rather than just profits on one sector, the banks, but where the banks also will need to be managed, and also in order to help build back the strength in the economy. Otherwise, it's a lose-lose game. We cannot accept that. It has to be that profit for in this case for the bank cannot be as it used to be, but they have also to be in a position to help others, for others at least to survive and manage through these difficult times ahead. That's the feeling I have. Otherwise, we'll be in trouble. If the bank still start looking at their profit margins and whatnot before extending a line to small businesses and factories and so on, then it will be difficult for the others on the customer side.
Yeah. If I can inject at this point of time, because on the chat segment, there are, I think, two questions, very interesting questions. One is on by Dr. Xu Ying. Dato', you mentioned about, if you can see the chat, I think the question about the negative oil prices. I mean, the question to you is, how is that impacting the current situation with renewables and future growth? You are, I mean, First Solar is in the center of these renewables energy industry. So could you comment a bit about this question that's coming into the chat?
Yeah, I will. Dr. Yusof, thank you. In fact, coincidentally, I also noticed that there's a chat there. Okay, so good question. Now, if you look at the oil price, will that impact the installation of the PV or the renewable energy? Of course, it will. But how big and how bad it will impact the installation? Is it going to be short term, or is it going to be near term? If you have to look at the renewable energy, let's say solar industry, that has been I'll say wow, right over the last 10, 12 years. Yeah, especially since I joined First Solar, there was a up and down of the at least 3 to 4 times big and small. From the time that we have companies entering the industry, the market, to the time that the consolidation and elimination happens, right? That's where you see all the companies that exist today. Oil price played a big role in the past, at least for the 6-7 days ago. It plays a big role in determining the installation of the solar project. But for last at least 4 to 5 years, the behavior or the mindset of the people changed, because a lot of big corporations like Yahoo, Google, Microsoft, all those companies, their behavior changed because they believe in renewable energy and they advocate for the renewable energy, and they actually installed the solar panel to produce renewable energy, not for just now but for future, because they believe that is the way that how you can produce the green energy to sustain the operation and at the same time reduce the carbon emission or the CO2 footprint. So today's situation, the project is still coming in strong for the solar installation. The oil price today is down to negative or so low. It will not impact the solar in a big way because oil price is always up and down. And when it's down for too long, it will bounce up again. And when it bounce up, maybe bounce up more than what we are doing today. So I wouldn't say that it will impact us long term, short term maybe, but in the longer term, where people's behavior and mindset is towards green, renewable, reduce carbon footprint, CO2 emission, and anything that we can do to protect the world. So right now, not just government is promoting the renewable energy installation of the PV, but a lot of the initiative is actually coming from the private sector, the big corporation who are doing it because they want to be green, they want to contribute positively to the environment. Right, thank you.
If I can add just on this topic, maybe first, yes, the oil price has come down, but to say negative price, that is not quite true. The price is still positive. It was only technicality, commodity futures trading that resulted in that the negative momentarily, as it were. But it's back to even the futures market. It's just the way that it is the trade is going on. But the thing is, you don't today there are not many. In fact, there's none in Malaysia that is running on oil. It's on coal, it's on gas, it's on these are the two main ones. So and you don't build power plants overnight based on current prices. You have to project forward and so on. So it will not be that oil price will not be affecting the power sector in Malaysia at all. Because we are not burning oil. Fuel stations, yes, there's a need for diesel in some cases, but those are minor. The main contributor to our power production is still coal and gas, apart from some hydro and of course now solar coming into play. So this is something that is will have the long-term trajectory. And I agree with Datuk Peng that there are, in fact, this MCO has shown to people what positive effect it can have on the environment. I know, in fact, I did not believe the picture, so I have my own people in Malacca to go and actually took a real picture of Sungai Malacca today. You can, the water is so clean. Of course, we at University Technical Malaysia Melaka, UTM, have a project. We were cleaning the river, but this MCO really help to really make the river so clean that you can see the bottom, you can see fish in the river, and so on. And we also feel the general improvement, and there is data to show that even the climatic condition, all this pollution level in cities around the world has improved. So this just goes to maybe what Dr. Peng said earlier, that a lot of corporates and a lot of people believe in renewables in order to help on the sustainability side of the environment. So that's my comment.
Thank you, Tan Sri. One more question from the chat, more with regard to e-learning, school infrastructure, and whether companies like First Solar, how would it help the government in this aspect? But I also like to invite Datuk Tan to come in at any time to talk about Sunway's experience in terms of evaluating this e-learning and the infrastructure. Please, Datuk Peng.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, there are some of the so-called collaboration with the school that we are doing. For example, we're actually donating the laptop or computer, and we're actually bringing some e-courses, but only to either one or two schools. That's what we're doing. But if you were to really want to benefit the rest, especially those who are at the rural area, I think that will be something that we need to work together, the whole industry and also the government. But also having said so, the need of putting up online syllabus, I believe that is a real need to make sure that we have the online syllabus, and that may actually allow the teacher to be more effective. I think there are some may have, but may not be all. I don't really have the detail, but this can be part of the CSR from the corporates, and also together partnering with the government or the certain agencies, right? E-learning, maybe Dr. Yusof might can really drive something through that for the e-learning, e-platform. Under MCHAM, there's a platform called, agency called Junior Achiever. We are actually also encouraging the e-learning as well, and we're actually going through the process to conduct certain e-learning classes for the targeted students. I mean, we can talk about that. Those are the opportunities.
Right. Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
Dr. Tan? Yes, please.
Interestingly, Sunway University has been molding this idea of using e-learning for a while. But obviously, you'd be surprised that even to conduct e-learning is quite well regulated by the Ministry of Education. And this, in a way, has opened up the new episode for educational institutions to move forward faster in a way. Of course, there are reasons that why MOE has to regulate e-learning because you're actually educating students. So then, unfortunately, in Malaysia, there are a lot of fly-by-night. I'm not running these institutions down that are fly-by-night, as in pure too much of a money-making institution rather than really with the aim to educate students. So therefore, regulations are required. And as I said, the advantage in inverted commas in this case is that really even Ministry of Education is fast-forwarding the approving processes. That's the positive part. As an institution, we are, what has happened in China today, and today Chinese schools are still not open, even though they have opened up quite a fair bit of, they put life back to normal, but students are still not going to school. So in a way, the system has forced e-learning to mushroom overnight in a very fast way. So that the IT experts will come in to see how to make the platform work better. The teachers start to teach using their own video conferencing. So really, this is going to be an entirely changed world. I remember when I was a student in UK, it's in the form of e-learning in the sense that the common subject is actually videotape, and then though we go to the class, but there's no lecturers out there. Actually, you just learn it through the video, and then the lecturers are eventually supported by giving you tutorial, and they're coming to the tutorial class to enhance the teaching. So I believe, even though this was in the 70s, that was what has been practiced in UK, not very successful, but I'm sure some of those experiences will have been fast forwarded today to really push e-learning in a big way. It will be a way forward, I believe.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's very true. I think the way is how can we bring in the e-learning faster than putting up too many layers, right? To review after review now. I mean, sit is easier than done, but I think there are many ways that we can get it going. But I do hope that I think echo is what are the red tapes, the bureaucracies that we can reduce, so that we can make it easier for us to adopt that, because that the key is still the adaptation of the e-learning at the school. Right? I mean, this is also
to be fair, at the MOE level, I think it's a matter of priority, because in the past, not many institutions, educational institutions or private sector has come forward to apply to take this platform on. So therefore, it was lukewarm at the ministry side. But today, the environment has changed. Everybody is going for it. So therefore, I think it becomes a priority at the ministry of education level to really take this up.
Okay,
that's good. So in the case of Malaysian, even go down to primary education, secondary, to go e-learning, I think the challenge, as what has been put out in the chat, is the IT infrastructure. That's the challenge.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also want to bring back the point that Tan Sri just mentioned about the river is so clean. Even though in the past, when we want to enforce the river and reduce the pollution, the river will not do. But now the river is so clean. I think the MCO is really enforcement. I think there's a key is the enforcement. If we have a good policy and if we enforce it, I will be sure that all the environmental, the health, the safety expectation is going to be raised to another bar. So I do believe that through this MCO, at least it let us see that there's an opportunity to be really comply and execute to the regulations and the KPIs as the agencies are setting.
Yeah. Any more inputs? Actually, and participant, actually, I want to end this conversation on 2 points which was made quite recently about the regulation and enforcement. I think the MCO has proven that the government can actually regulate through KKM daily newscasts and the way they have introduced new MCO regulation. That means they can regulate, they can enforce. You can see how the putting people at home and penalize those who are not following that rules. And communication by the government is very clear, and I'm sure we all know that the KP of KKM has been given a lot of accolades around the world. And I think the way it's shown that if the people understand and see the rationale behind what you are trying to do, I think the aspect of regulation, enforcement, communication could actually be done much easier. So I think that will happen to e-learning and also to other parts. The way discussion is actually channeling through is that two of the last points discussed on renewable energy and also on e-learning is actually something that Sunway is doing a lot. So I'm not sure whether that is pointing towards the next speaker, next presenter for our second series. That maybe we might Datuk KL Tan to go deeper into the digital education and also on the renewable energy. Datuk, is that an invitation that you're going to take up, Datuk? Datuk K. Altan?
Yeah, interesting subject. Anyway, I am not an expert in education, but certainly if the subject is, if you are interested to put forward the subject, probably not me personally, but you can definitely nominate someone from our education, some university to really come in to share. And we are more than happy to share. And so as on the renewable energy. Yeah. Because the subjects ready to present, you ready to go deeper into it. And I'm only flying helicopter at level 30. So
you need helicopter more, Datuk. Yes.
to go deeper, certainly I'm more than happy to support it by nominating the right people to come.
Thank you. Excellent. Datuk Peng, I think a lot
just one
of
point,
please do.
You know why during this MCO the governance are so strong? Because all of us, in a way, are given a potential death sentence if we don't follow ourselves and take care of ourselves. That's why all of us behave.
Yeah. I have a chance to watch a video forwarded to me. My wife forwarded to me, like India. They put the violators into the ambulance where they have a fake patient, right? So you can see the reaction from the people there. It's a death sentence.
There used to be a joke from the previous Sultan Iskandar. Not Sultan Iskandar, his father, what was it? The former Agong, Johor Sultan. He has a zoo in his istana in Johor. So then he used to talk to his boy and says, "Are you more scared of me or more scared of the tiger in the zoo?" So the boy says, "Sir, I'm more scared of you." "Oh, so you're not scared of the tiger? Huh? Put him in the cage, tiger cage." I think this round everyone behave because really it's involving yourself. We just cannot be selfish. It's just not the people surrounding us. It's ourselves, and then if you're not careful, we are affecting everyone surrounding us. So therefore, I think that the enforcement is ourselves.
Yeah. So, well, we're coming to the end of this webinar session. It was an excellent, Datuk Peng. Thank you very much for your preparation. And thank you for entertaining a lot of questions and discussion here. Thank you to all the participants for your very active participation. I'm sure there's a lot of questions. You can do it offline after this. But certainly this is a good start that shows that there are a lot of knowledge that can be shared from different disciplines. And I think that's what 4IR is all about. It's about multidisciplinary approach to a lot of challenges for the future. So the new norm is that we need to collaborate, like Datuk Peng saying, we need to collaborate much more, closer. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, what can I say? Thank you very much for the very productive and very interesting morning. We hope to do it again, and we have already suggested to Datuk K. Altan if can bring some of the discussion on the e-learning and also renewable energy. That would be perfect. Datuk Raslan will be more than happy to help you to work with the content. And so with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Tan Sri, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Stay safe and be well, all of you. Thank you very much.
Right. Stay safe, stay healthy, take care.